We have some Oakland, California Golden Seals news, whatever you want to call them, this week. We're going to give you a little bit of an idea on how this team is going to be run, not only by owner Charlie Finley, but by the rookie general manager Gary Young. And as we will see as time goes on, Gary Young was truly a rookie at being a general manager. I don't know how he talked a guy like Finley, who was a fairly experienced, although not very skillful, team owner in other major sports. Finley knew nothing about hockey, and he continued to prove it by the people that he hired. And you'll see this right through this upcoming 71-72 season. That's all I'm going to say right now for those of you who don't remember. You're going to see things happen that Young does, that Finley does. They're going to tell you just what a hot, stinking mess this Seals franchise really was. John Porter of the Oakland Tribune was reporting for us, and he said that right in line with the policy of new, young, fresh faces for the approaching season, the Seals sold veteran right-winger Bill Hickey to the Pittsburgh Penguins early in the week, and what they received in turn was nothing but cold, hard cash. Hickey, who's now 33, by the way, was the second veteran player sold in 2 days, with defenseman Doug Roberts having been sent to the Bruins earlier last week. The price for each of these players was not disclosed, but you can probably guess that it was a little bit more than the standard waiver price, and that's why the Seals made the deal. They like they like cash a lot more than they like any other kind of assets, what they probably have to spend money on. Now, Bill Hickey is not exactly a plug, even though he's 33. Last season, he scored 18 goals and added 17 assists for a decent NHL season back in a 14-team league. He is the club's the Seals' all-time leading goal scorer. He's got 79 to this point in his career. Now, Hickey was not happy being in Oakland, and the Seals were not happy at having to pay him. We found out later that they had been advised that arbiter Ed Houston, who was looking at Hickey's salary dispute and was arbitrating the situation, was going to rule in favor of Hickey, and that's why they gave him away for nothing but cold, hard cash. And a team that's as bad as this needed other help other than just cash, I would think. But this is your rookie GM taking his marching orders from a boss who knows nothing about the sport that Young is supposed to be generally managing. Now, one other thing we wanted to add about this deal, again, just to give you an insight in what they're doing here, Bill Hickey was the Seals player representative to the National Hockey League Players Association. Now, there were some other binding contract decisions made by arbiter Houston this week as well, and they were for goalie Gary Smith, left winger Wayne Carlton, and another couple of forwards, Gary Crotto and Gary Jarrett. Now, Hickey's going to come out on this all right because the contract he was awarded by Houston will be fully honored by Penguins general manager Red Kelly. 4 more players are expected to go to arbitration this week for the Seals: Don O'Donohue, Carl Vadnais, Bobby Sheehan, and Stan Gilbertson. And now this, with the departure of Hickey and Doug Roberts, there is only one original Seal left with the team. One player chosen in the 1967 expansion draft remains with the California Golden Seals. You know who that is? Big goalie Gary Smith. But stay tuned. We will have more news on Gary Smith later this week. But before we get to that, which will come a little later on in the show, we're trying to go in a bit of chronological order. One more item early this week from the Seals. It just keeps getting goofy. The Charles O. Finley, the owner of the Seals, now was reported to have offered the Seals coaching job to Bernie Boom Boom Geoffrion, the famous former Montreal Canadian and New York Ranger. He's a former high-scoring right winger. He now scouts Quebec for the New York Rangers, and he's also a former coach of the Rangers, and he coached as well in the American League with the Quebec Aces. Now, there's one slight little hitch to this story. If you've been paying attention, you will realize that Geoffrion's appointment, if it were to be confirmed, crimps the style of present coach Fred Glover, who hasn't been fired, hasn't been reassigned, and says he knows absolutely nothing about this situation. Glover's in his third year as Seals coach. It's known that Young, very, very high opinion of himself from what we've heard from people, wants to put his stamp and his face on this team, and so he probably wants to get rid of Glover, and they think they can get Geoffrion cheaper than they already paid Glover. I wouldn't bet on that, knowing the Boomer. Stay tuned on this story.